All right. What better way to start this intro with a little all right, Bobby? How are we feeling post Super Bowl, boys? I mean, unfortunately, our boy Derek wasn't able to join us out there, but he'll be out there next year, 100%.
Yeah, for sure, man. I was so disappointed that I couldn't be there. You guys looked like you were having a time of your life. And, you know, I didn't expect it, honestly, you guys to be surrounded by so many of the guys that you were. I mean, I was blown away with the pictures from Bobby and you guys in the group chat. I'm sitting there like on my couch. I'm just like, man. But I'll be there next year, though, so I'm excited for it.
Facts. Bobby, how are we feeling?
It was the funniest thing. Every time we did something else, like Wingo would see it on Instagram or Wingo would see it, I text him, he'd be like, damn, I should be there. What the hell? Like, you could tell he really realized, like, yeah, this is a movie. I can't believe I didn't go.
It was really a movie. I mean, honestly, we didn't really know what to expect, right? First media row experience, so you're just kind of figuring it out as you go. Yeah. Kind of created a makeshift chat. When we get there, we're sharing a space with some guys. But, I mean, look at this. It came out sweet. You know, we brought the Miami vibes. Like, there's Pooch right there.
Dude, the dog was awesome. Whiskey
was awesome. Shout out our boy Jacob Martin. It was dope, though. It was dope. Had a good lineup of guests. We got a ton of content. I think we recorded like 15 different pods, man on the street type stuff. Dave got an interview with McAfee, which was dope. By the way, yeah. McAfee's the man, bro. Yeah. Like, most genuine dude ever.
He's somebody that you can tell that, no, he doesn't have a switch.
Yes.
He is just nonstop 24/7, go, and energy. I don't know if he has 10 cups of coffee or, you know, he's doing something else, but that guy is definitely, you know, full go and you know, he's exciting to definitely be around and watch.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, I don't know what's in that cup, but something's in that cup. That's what I was telling the boys. The biggest takeaway from the weekend, we all talked about this out there, Andre, is like, people are like, deserve to be where they're at. They're there for a reason. Like, you meet the Darius Butler and the Gumpies and the Pat McAfees and the Taylor Lewans and the Will Comptons. And it's like, no, these guys deserve everything they're doing. Cause like,
yes,
dude, they're for the people, dude. They just hang out. They don't know any different. They really don't know they're doing that. Like, they're incredible and they deserve it all. And it was awesome.
100%.
Really just some guys being dudes.
Yeah. 100%.
Literally
100%, which is why guys being dudes will have the stage next to McAfee next year. And Bobby's going to be doing interviews after the live show, you know, chopping it up with the boys. Oh man. No, it was sick though. But let's get into this week. We got a rundown of a bunch of things kind of going over. We'll briefly kind of go over the Super Bowl. Some news yesterday with Chambliss broke, right? That he's coming back.
Huge.
So we'll kick off the show with that. Then we got a little Pebble Beach talk over there in the West Coast. We'll talk a little bit about some of the disappointments this year in the NFL, some of the improved teams in the NFL, and kind of what teams we might see next year that might take a big leap, right? And then we'll talk a little Winter Olympics, and then, of course, our dude of the week and dude moment of the week. But let's kick it off with Chambliss. Let's start there, right? That was some big breaking news yesterday. I think we talked about it like 2-3 weeks ago, right? Like, where was he going to end up in this process? Here we are. I don't know if you saw some of the court clips of him talking in there. It felt like it was going to happen when you kind of saw the judge asking those questions.
Yeah, so honestly, I knew it was going to kind of happen. And you also look at it, too. I almost didn't see him on any of, like, the mock drafts or things like that. Sure. Wasn't invited to the combine. So I think those guys knew in the back of their mind that he was going to be invited back to play another year. You look at a guy like Chambliss, right, going from D2 National Championship, doing what he did this year with Ole Miss, and then being able to have that next opportunity, right? That's a guy who, you know, he really does have the experience, right? Because he's played a lot of ball. He's an older player. Now he has the opportunity to benefit off NIL and then just keep his experience going. You know, I was watching him in those college playoff games. He is calm. He's collected. He's a leader. You know, he knew exactly what he was doing. You know, nowadays in college football, they have the mics and the helmets, and he's commanding. And that's what you look for in a quarterback. You know, like I've been saying, you know, he's going to be a top quarterback in next year's draft. And I don't look at it. I look at it like almost a Dante Moore and Trinidad Chambliss is going to be next year. And, you know, when it comes down to it, people do have the question marks about his height, you know, being 6'1", but for a guy that can move on his feet, he has a lot of zip in the ball, and he's confident in himself, and that's what you want in a quarterback, and I think he's going to be very successful.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in the world of NIL now, it makes you consider coming back, right? Yeah. Before, it wasn't even a thought, right? You're like, I'm trying to get to the NFL as fast as possible.
Well, Dante Moore, he came out and said something. He was like, oh, my decision had nothing to do with NIL. I'll tell you, like, yes, he might have wanted to do some other things. Like, it's not going to get better than, you know, project the number 2 overall pick. But, you know, it definitely has to be in the back of your mind, when you're getting, a $3-4 million contract, and that's before anything else, before any marketing, before any other deals that you do. And that kind of money can set you up, for life if you're able to have the right people in your corner to organize those things and take care of yourself. And there's so many different things that you can do with all that. And, that can change lives right there before you even step foot on an NFL field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Bobby, what do you think, as a guy like Chambliss, is that the right decision considering this class may not be one of the stronger classes? Maybe you got Fernando there at the top, and then there's just kind of a drop off a little bit there. Like, is it, in your opinion, the right decision for a guy like Chambliss to come back?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's funny to say, but like even with the Dante Moore stuff, I think that when you're getting $5 million a year to stay in college, you can make choices like, I don't want to play for the Jets. So honestly, I'll just go back to Oregon. And I know that's funny, but like it's true. Yeah. Like you have those choices now. You can truly make them because it's not going to, burden you financially. And I think with Chambliss, like, he probably has some unfinished business, right? He hasn't played at that level before. He was a little dinged up, and then he got to Ole Miss, and they made a run, and Kiffin left him midway through the season. So I'm sure, like, in a lot of ways, he just feels like, he wants to run it back and get a full, runway into a last hoorah. And you can always respect that. And he's an undersized guy. He came from a small school. So, like, maybe he wants to prove more, too. Like, maybe you go from a second-round prospect to, a top 15 prospect. So I definitely understand that. I know it was a light quarterback class, but, I don't think people consider that as much as, like, experts and fans do. I think guys make, their personal decisions. And, if they want to compete and they want to win a championship, and I know Wingo always talks about this, and leave a legacy somewhere your kids can go back to, and, that you can tell your kids about, that a lot of stuff goes into it. It's not just, but you could be drafted top 10. It's like, yeah, but I'm having fun. I'm making money. It's not like I'm broke anymore. And, we could possibly go win a championship, and I could have a real legacy here. So, like, and I think listening to the interviews yesterday, I was kind of hard on Chambliss through the process a little bit. I know Wingo was a big advocate for him. Imagine that, the NIL agent. Anyway, wait, Wingo, was you involved?
I know nothing.
But when the judges were like asking him, like, why do you think you need another year? And he was like, I mean, it's in the rules. Like, people get 4 years of eligibility. I was like, that checks out. I mean, how can you not give the kid another year? I mean, if he hasn't played his 4 years of eligibility or full years or whatever, then yeah. And, it looked like it was over. Like, I feel like they almost made an announcement in the morning, like, basically, like, this is over. Like, he's been denied all three ways. Like, this is not going to happen. And then they reversed it. So good for him, man. And good for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I actually want to touch on that, right, to provide a little clarity and maybe education on this whole process. So, Wingo, tell us, like, he did get denied, right? So what was really, like, the biggest difference as to it was no, and then all of a sudden it's a yes, right? So what did they see to say, hey, actually he can't play again?
Yeah, so there's so many different clauses and different, ways that you can go about it, whether or not, it's medical, it's, just not playing in, a smaller division. There's so many different angles and things that you can go. Obviously him getting denied. You just have to find that one loophole. And this is almost for everything in college football. There is a loophole for everything. So he was able to do that. And, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people had, somewhat of sympathy for him, because it's like, this is a kid that has been through it, right? You look back at his journey, in D2, winning a national championship. Like, he's been through the grind. And he's one of those guys that I look at now in college football that loves the game, right? He loves going out there and playing football, and he shows that. And I think with him sitting in that courtroom, with all those people in there, they felt that about him. They were like, this kid isn't just, out here chasing the money. Because I'll tell you what, there is 9,000 million people that are trying to get an extra year of eligibility. Whether or not they play, they start, they just play special teams, they're trying to get another one just because of NIL. That kid is coming back to win a national championship. He is coming back to lead his team and to be around Pete Golding, someone who's waited around a long time for this opportunity that he has. And they're just definitely going to be a team to watch next year.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy Castellanos was one of those guys that also, I don't know what really the biggest difference was between their two situations, but Tommy was denied, and it looked like he never even had a chance.
Yep.
Chambliss, I guess, what was it really? Was it because he played D2, so that was kind of like the argument as to why he still had some eligibility, or what?
Yeah,
what was
so that's the biggest argument now. I know it came out not too long ago about, if you're playing in JUCO or not in Division I, you still have, certain years of eligibility. If I'm being completely honest, there's a lot of rules in the NCAA right now that are not very strict. Right. Like, they're not, this is the book, this is how it's supposed to be. There's even with NIL, with everything, like there's not a specific way to do anything. So I honestly have a belief of if you have a way to prove yourself and back it up with details and back it up with whatever knowledge you might have, past cases, future cases, you have an opportunity to pass. I look at it now. I have a buddy of mine who's trying to he's actually in pre-draft training, and he's talking with the schools to try and come back to get an extra year of eligibility. Yeah. And then he's trying to find different ways and, text message receipts and all these different things from trainers and doctors and imaging. And those things work. If you have, the right documents and all these things to go back and do that, the first person might say no, the second person might say no, but eventually they're going to look at you and be like, okay, but that does now, when I think about it, open up the door for other people, which is almost sad to see because Trinidad, he went through a long process to get this done. And now you're going to see some people say, oh, well, I can do what he can do. Yeah. And they're going to try and, egg on that same situation. So it's a little bit up in the air, and I'm curious to see where it goes, but it definitely opened up the door for other people to try and do the same thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Bobby, you got any final thoughts on the Chambliss?
Yeah, I was sitting there listening to Wingo talk about how these kids are fighting so hard to get back to school. And it's funny because it's like, it wasn't so long ago people were fighting to skip college. It's like, how can I just go pro? Yeah. How can I go straight out of high school? And it shows you, it's just funny how times change, right? So dude, it wasn't long ago at all. People were like, man, I shouldn't have to play college if I'm ready for the NFL. If I'm have the ability and I'm projected a first round pick, why am I wasting my time? And of course, these kids just needed money, and I don't blame them. Like when you're struggling or your family's struggling, and that break or the generational wealth is right around the corner. I get that. So it's funny and it's crazy to see. And it's good, right, for the athlete to know that these kids are getting compensated now. So they're fine with staying in school. They're fine with getting an education. I mean, so that part's cool, but it is wild to think it wasn't long ago kids were begging to jump college. Yeah. And now kids are begging to stay in college. So and it's pretty interesting.
It's funny because I was actually sitting on the sidelines with Michael Irvin at one of the St. Thomas games, and we were talking about NIL. And, he was going crazy about it. He was like, if I was in college football right now, I would stay in it for 8 years if I could. Yeah. He's like, these kids are idiots. And I'm like, I'm with you. I believe you. Look at the guy from Miami that was in there for 8 years, right? 2 master's degrees. He's set for life because he was making NIL. He now works as a coach for the Patriots. And, some of these things, these guys got to take advantage of.
For sure.
But also realize if you enter that portal and don't get picked up, now you don't have a degree, you don't have a school, and you're not playing football.
Yeah, and then there's the injury factor too, right? You got injured, and all of a sudden, that draft stock that you were, kind of holding on to, or maybe even able to elevate a little bit, you get hurt. You're not guaranteed anything after that.
You're not guaranteed,
right?
But you're also not guaranteed if you get to the NFL, right? We've seen so many cases where guys are in the league for 1 year and he's a bust, up to the next guy up. Yeah. And that happens. So, there's a lot of things to weigh in to make those decisions.
Yeah, but you feel a little bit more confident when you're getting a little bit of a paycheck, in the process. Definitely. So that definitely helps.
That's what I was going to kind of add on Chambliss, and not to say anything, he's obviously a baller, he might have a great career, but he is an undersized kid, and he's came a weird, unorthodox route to the NFL. And there might be a chance it doesn't pan out for him. So by all means, get all the money you can now, take care of yourself and get all the development you possibly can. So you have your best chance when you do get to the league. So that's the other thing about it. Yeah. You're not guaranteed. The league isn't guaranteed once you get there. So to say that you're going to make this money or that money, whatever, most of the money don't come to your second contract. Yep. And that's where Wingo comes in. You know what I mean? So it's it sounds great, but also you're not guaranteed a successful 10-year career. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I mean, we're going to see a lot of this moving forward, right? This is just one of many situations. Chambliss, obviously big name, quarterback position, coming off a good run with Ole Miss in the playoffs. So I think to your point, we're going to see them again in the playoffs, and we're going to see what Chambliss looks like, hopefully, assuming nothing happens, but, late in the season next year.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. But let's talk a little bit about this Super Bowl this past weekend. A lot of people calling it a boring game, not a lot of excitement behind it. As Fins fans, it's always nice to hate watch a little bit against the Pats, so you don't really care how boring that game was. But it was pretty much how everyone assumed it to go, right? Seattle was dominant pretty much throughout the course of the whole playoffs, led by their defense. Running game, Kenneth Walker had a great game. No touchdowns, but was pretty much dominant the whole game. Every time he touched the ball, it was for positive gain, right? So I think the game went pretty much as everyone expected, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I think obviously people say that it was a boring first half. I look at it of almost a different perspective. Yeah. Playing defense, it's these guys are getting after it. But no, I mean, It was exciting to see, how much of a complete team Seattle is. And I'm not just saying from the Super Bowl, but, throughout the entire season, I think they're a full, complete team. The Patriots just, didn't have it. And when you talk about momentum is a key factor in the game, 100% you can see it. You can see it on Drake May's face. You can see it on, I know the Patriots defense was still hanging in there and doing things, but the momentum factor was a huge aspect. Yeah. And, with what Kenneth Walker was able to do, I don't think Sam Darnold played Sam Darnold football. He was missing a lot of throws to JSN behind or in front of him. He could have played a lot better. But when you have a complete team like that on offense, defense, special teams, Seattle pays the most out of anybody in the NFL for their special teams. I think it's around $9 million, right? And their kicker went 5 for 5. Yeah. That was big time for them to be able to do that, and then obviously have a defensive score as well. Kenneth Walker, you talk about him, how he was able to elevate his game after Charbonnet getting injured, right? All season long, you're splitting reps, right? But you're also protecting your body. He's also finding a way to not be banged up because, running backs don't last very long in this league. And for Kenneth Walker to do what he did without scoring a touchdown because it got called back, but I think it was 160 yards total scrimmage. That guy's a beast. MVP, he deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker definitely deserved the MVP, but there was a second there I was wondering if Jason Myers might get the first kicker MVP ever because he was putting in that work. But like Wingo said, it was kind of like a battle of who could last the longest. And the reality of it is Seattle just kept showing up, right? Yeah. And the Patriots held in there. Both defenses showed up. But it was just Seattle kept coming back. And finally that wall fell. Mm-hmm. And they were never going to let up. They kept making the plays for 60 minutes. And they just kind of pulled away at the end. And And also I want to say this. We have over 100 people watching across all platforms. If you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, always make sure. We appreciate you watching anywhere, but always make sure to come over to YouTube, subscribe to the Dive Bar, subscribe to Guys Being Dudes, subscribe to Stay Tranquilo. Always show the guys love. It helps more than you ever know. With that being said, back into Super Bowl talk.
I love it. Nice plug in there. Way to stay on top of the numbers so we know what's going on because sometimes I'm like, who the hell's watching this right now? So awesome.
Dude, Joe and David. So Joe and David are in a group chat right now, like orchestrating the whole thing.
I love it. The boys behind the scenes. I love it. It's a team effort out here, boys. But yeah, I think Bobby, you nailed it, right? Like Myers all year long has been great, right? Honestly, on my fantasy team, he was my MVP. I remember, what game was it? It was one of these late season playoffs games because it was already fantasy playoffs. Yep. Bro, it gave me 26 points in that game. Oh, yeah. I think they had 15 points in that game. It was all field goals, 2 50-yarders, a couple 40. Like, he was great all season long. And there was a point where it was like, is he going to be the MVP? Like, kind of the way the game was going. There was no touchdown scored at that point. He was pretty much the only points. But yeah, to your point, like they invested in the special teams. Special teams was great. Shaheed had a couple returns also throughout the course of the year. Like they just did everything right in every facet of the game. And, guy like Sam Darnold, very talented guy, but that's what happens when you have a good team. Sometimes you're getting picked up the slack in other parts of your game, right? Whether that's the running game, defense, special teams, but that's what a good team does.
Yeah, and it's definitely when I look at the game as a whole for Seattle, right? You're talking about getting to second and third and manageable, right? Even though, say on first down I said, Sam Darnold didn't play to his full potential. He was missing a lot of throws. But when you had Kenneth Walker doing what he was doing, right? Getting those 5-6 yards on first down, you're able to do certain things. It opens up your playbook to, whether or not you're taking a shot or whether or not you're doing something different so that, you do have an opportunity on third down to continuously just keep marching down the field. Yeah. And also that's just running the clock, not nonstop and having these long drives, tiring out defenses. That's exactly what you got to do. And I think that was their plan going in the game.
Yeah. They dominated. Shout out to Seahawks. Great dub for the boys over there in Seattle. It's a great city. They seem like they love to party over there and just have a good time, right? From what I hear, I've never been to a Seattle game, but I heard it's electric over there for game day. I forget what game it was, but like a couple years ago, nighttime, prime game, crowd was electric. It got so crazy in there, it triggered an earthquake in the stadium, like a 2-point-something magnitude earthquake. So those guys are rocking over there.
Miami would never. Miami would never.
Not even at our loudest, bro. We couldn't even get close. But yeah, no, sick to see Seattle win. But yeah, let's touch on a little bit of like end of year recap, right? Like what teams do we think did well this year, maybe exceeded expectations? What teams were disappointed? And then like who are we excited to see next year, right? So I guess let's kick it off. Like, who are the biggest disappointments this year? I know we have some preset graphics, but we can open up the dialogue a little bit. But I know we have a consensus as to who we think here.
Yeah, I think my biggest upsetting is 100% the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I say this because this is more on the public, because no matter what the Kansas City Chiefs were doing, playing terrible, like doing everything the wrong way, the public was still all on them. Oh, they're going to come back and do this. Oh,
100%.
they're going to come back and still win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes this and then that. And then Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, and we're still talking about, their weapons and this and that. And it's just let it go. They're not going to have it this year.
This is not the year.
Just finally just kind of push them to the side a little bit. So, it definitely was disappointing because of all the talent that they do have. I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, but you talk about their cap space, right? Being over, $60 to $90 million in their cap space. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You have all these weapons, you have all these people on your team that are top players, but you're not getting it done. So this is a time where you need to take a step back, go talk upstairs, figure out what we're going to do contract-wise and how we're going to end up winning football games.
Yeah.
And hopefully Patrick Mahomes can come back healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Why, like, you can't really ever count out Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Chiefs. Like, when they were, what was it, like 6-9 or some shit like that, I'm like, they're gonna find a way to get in. Like, we've seen this before, but yeah,
it's Alabama in college football.
Yeah, exactly. But the reality is, like, that team just wasn't good enough all year, right? Like, they would keep themselves in games. Their defense is always kind of, like, especially lately, has kind of been their backbone, and then Mahomes just does enough late in games, but they weren't winning those games anymore like that, right? Like, they would be close, but just not enough firepower around Mahomes to really take them to that next level. So anytime the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, I feel like they're always going to be that disappointment, right?
Yep.
And to your point, like the cap, which we'll touch on in a little bit, they're in a sticky situation over there. Sticky situation. But Bobby, how about in the NFC? Who's the team we got in the NFC biggest disappointment?
Oh, let me think. Honestly, I was going back to the AFC. You threw me off there.
Tell me
NFC.
Tell me AFC.
I really don't know. To me, it's got to be the Colts. I mean, they started out so hot.
Yeah.
They freaking slapped the Dolphins around week 1. They're on this, they're like, nothing can stop them. And then they start losing. And everybody was like, why are we rooting for the Colts? When we're trying to get into playoff scenarios, why are we rooting for the Colts to lose? Because they keep losing. I mean, yeah. Obviously, Daniel Jones got hurt by the end, but like, dude, they fell off completely. They lost like 6 straight, didn't make the playoffs. For me, it's got to be the Colts just because they did start so hot and had such a head start on the rest of the field. And to still miss the playoffs somehow is insane. Yeah,
I mean, I think, when you look at preseason expectations, Colts were not that team that you thought. It was like, holy shit, this team is the one exceeding expectations this year, right? Because I think they were 8-1, right? At one point in the season, you're like, holy shit, number 1 in the AFC. Like, are they going to be the top dog? Daniel Jones looks legit. Then obviously Daniel Jones gets hurt. But even before DJ got hurt, they were already kind of dwindling down. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor was having a really good year. He kind of cooled off. Teams just started figuring out how to beat them. So if you look at from like midseason, I would say they're definitely the biggest disappointment considering the start that they had. But if you look at it preseason, it's probably about what they were expected to do this year. They just started off so damn hot.
Yeah. I think, their expectations before this season, you look at what they were able to accomplish. Hell of a job, right? You did, but then once they went on that run, it was like, oh, they're going to be something special. Shout out to Phillip Rivers for getting the 5 years of extra of insurance for the family. So
got him.
What a dog! What a dog! Yeah, no, it was tough. Yeah, go for it, Bobby.
Yeah, since I dropped the ball earlier, I'll pivot to the NFC now. I'll take one because there's a few big ones, and I'll leave some meat on the bones for the boys. But I think first and foremost, got to be Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit is what you consider the modern day juggernaut, or so we thought. They lose both coordinators, and they just turn into chopped cheese, right? So, like, for me, Detroit's got to be there. Dan Campbell, you're on fraud alert. We're watching you now. So we're going to see what's going on with Detroit.
Damn, fraud alert for our boy Campbell, dude.
You can't lose both coordinators and everything fall apart. It just, it's got to go back to the head coach now, especially when you see how Ben Johnson's doing.
Yeah. But then you look at Aaron Glenn, and it's probably not even an Aaron Glenn problem, though. It's
the Jets. The Jets.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I do think, Lions, 13-win team last year.
Yep.
Then you finish last in the division. I mean, that division pretty stacked, considered, Minnesota, Chicago, and Who else we got in that division?
Packers.
Packers, yeah. Which you could make the argument Packers disappointing season the way they started. They look like the juggernaut, right? Like they look like they could beat everybody and anybody. Obviously, Parsons gets hurt. It's gonna derail a lot for your defense.
When you watch those games for the Packers, almost every single play you see some way, somehow, Micah was involved.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was rushing off the edge or chasing a guy down on the sideline. That guy is electric, so he's definitely going to come back. After he just got that big payday.
Yeah.
Definitely come back for vengeance.
Hell yeah. All right, well, let's talk set of disappointments. Who are our biggest improvements on the NFL season? Teams that took a big leap this year. You can make the argument that those two teams in the Super Bowl are part of that discussion, but outside of that, who else do you think made some big improvements this year?
I would say the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think, Trevor Lawrence still isn't playing the highest caliber of football, but he's managing it, right? And then you look at, Jags' defense. They're doing a great job on defense.
Mm-hmm.
They got a freaking boomstick at kicker for in Cam Little. So I think they're definitely going to take advantage of that next year, taking those big shots. But I think they're starting to build a complete team. And that's what you need when you look at, someone like Seattle was able to do what they do. And then they're getting a new stadium. I know it's not going to be done until 2028, but that new stadium's going to be sick. I know they're pumped and excited for it. But I think the Jags was definitely something that I wasn't expecting. And, I was really excited to see another team in Florida, doing well. I feel like when teams in Florida are well, it helps all of football. So hopefully the Jags can figure things out.
Probably going to be the best team in Florida.
Liam Cohen is doing a great job, too. His little Duval. He's going to be a good one.
No, he's legit. And, I mean, you look at Etienne. He took a huge leap this year, right? He had it down here. Everyone was kind of counting him out. People wanted to kick the Jags over to London and send them overseas and be like, this team's done. We don't need them over here. But they look good. And I don't know. Like, I thought Trevor Lawrence looked really good this year. I think people were kind of like, damn, they shouldn't have paid him. A lot of like that same Tua kind of conversation. Yeah. But I watched a couple of those Jags games, and Trevor Lawrence made some big time throws when you need him.
He was dealing, he was dealing.
He was hooping, and he's athletic, right? So he can use his legs when you need him. Like, he's got everything, and if he can continue to piece that together and play well, I mean, shit, I think the Jags could.
The atmosphere is great over there in Jacksonville too, especially for those playoff games, the night games. It's nuts. Yeah, Trevor had me a little nervous sometimes, but he was able to get it done. I remember there was the one where he fumbled the ball, then picked it up and ran to the end zone. It was like up, down, not knowing what's going on. But yeah, definitely excited for them.
Yeah. Bobby, who do you got biggest improvement this year? I mean, I think we're all in the same boat about Jacksonville for sure.
Yeah. Jacksonville is the clear, obvious one. I think another one, I'll go a little off the beaten path here because of what I expected, but I do think it's we'll see how they follow it up. But I'll go with the Panthers. Obviously the NFC South is its own thing, but they did win that division, and obviously that goes back to disappointments a little bit. The Bucks obviously very disappointed, but I think the Panthers. I mean, I didn't think they were ready to compete at all, and I know it's the NFC South, but they did win the division, and then they did give the Rams a damn handful in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like they snuck in and then got their ass kicked. Like, they went toe to toe with the Rams and had every chance to even win that game. So I'll go with the Panthers.
I like that. I think that's the game you have to go back to at the end of the day is the Rams playoff game, right? What were they? 10-point dogs at home.
Yep.
Like, no one even gave them a damn chance, and here they are in the fourth quarter with a lead.
I didn't.
Right? Yeah, most people did it, but it was like, shit. Okay, maybe these guys can't hang. Yeah, you can make the argument the division sucks and all that, and they snuck in with all those like situational week 18, crap, which, any given week 18, I'll take that all day. I mean, but they made it in and they hung around. They hosted a home playoff game, crowd was in it. And to be 10-point dogs and basically have a chance to win, a playoff game, which arguably could have been a team that was in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, they could have, beat Seattle in that NFC Championship game. That was a back and forth game. So I do like Carolina, but to me, the biggest improvement is Chicago Bears. Like, what we saw, what Ben Johnson did over there, Caleb Williams, that fucking fourth down play, bro, was out of control. Out of control. Like, probably arguably one of the best playoff plays I've seen in a long time. But considering what they were able to do, I think they were a 4-win team last year to then jump to, 12 wins this year, it is impressive, right? So I think they're going to be another team to watch again this year. A lot of like the preseason or end of postseason sort of preseason discussions. Now, are that like Caleb MVP next year? Bears winning the division, can make a run for the Super Bowl. And based off the color of the Super Bowl graphics, it should be the Bears and Dolphins in the Super Bowl from what I'm speculating. Right, Bobby?
Yeah.
Bears, Dolphins, Super Bowl?
Oh, for sure. Dolphins definitely going to bounce back with zero cap room and
I think I shocked them
$52
when I
million
said Dolphins
dead
Super
cap
Bowl.
to the quarterback. I was going to let you get your punchline in because it was clearly a joke, but you actually got me wanting to go on a tangent about the Dolphins now, and I'm not going to do that to the show.
No,
so,
it's okay. It's okay.
don't get me started.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, I do think
the Bears maybe.
Yeah, Bears definitely one of those teams. It is always interesting though. First year head coach, can they replicate that in a second year, third year? Now you got film on how they try to operate, but I do think they got a good team over there. I don't know what their cap situation is or who's going to be able to return. But when Caleb's playing the way he played at the end of last year, I think they're going to be good.
I think Caleb built a lot of confidence in himself. And not only just that, I think the trust built so much with him and Ben Johnson throughout the entire season.
Yes.
I talked about it, on one of the last shows. When I saw Caleb give that game ball to Ben Johnson, that was where it was like, okay, we're in this together.
Yeah.
Like we're, side by side, we're going to go attack. And I think, also just adding weapons. They had guys like, Romo Odunze, they had Colson Lovin that they drafted, they have DJ Moore, they have, all these different pieces for Caleb to now not only be aggressive on the run game, but able to throw the ball up and know he's going to have receivers down there. So now it's just about adding those last few pieces with what they have in their cap, how can they renegotiate some contracts, and then, just go play football at the end of the day. So I think their defense was very good.
Yes.
Their defense was very good. And at the end of the day, defense wins championships. You see that all over the place. So I think next year they're definitely going to be the team to beat.
They were playing with fire a lot during the year. I mean, I don't know how many fourth quarter comebacks they had throughout the course of the season. So they got to be, a little cautious when it comes to that next year. But, I think when the Bears are good, it's also good for football as well. But yeah, any other teams, right? I think we hit everything that we want to hit here. But we want to touch on the cap situation, right? A lot of teams are in prime spots. Some teams are in some real crappy spots. But we all kind of know the cap situation's kind of a little bit of a smoke and mirrors. Yeah, obviously, like money's money. Like you got to have the money. But there's ways of manipulating things around, put some things like as bonuses, and you can move money around to open up cap space, right? But let's talk about some of the teams that are in great cap situations and teams that are in not so good cap situations. So I don't know. We got a graphic for this, right? Yeah. Okay, sweet. So here you go. You could see who the top 5 teams there in cap situations, and then you could see kind of the bottom 5, the bottom of the barrel. So let's what do we want to kick it off with? We want to deal with the guys that are in crappy situations or the guys there that are in some good situations? Let's say we start with the crap.
Go ahead and just
the crap. Okay,
just go ahead and start with the crap. The Chiefs are flat out screwed. I honestly just don't know what they're going to do. With all the weapons and things that they have, and now some contracts coming up. There's no way around this. We got to make some trades. We got to draft a guy. You got to get people out of there because it's just not working. Right. Yeah. Sometimes when you put an all-star team together, it doesn't last forever. Right. You can't just replicate
it ages out for sure.
Yeah, it ages out, and obviously. You're going to see some of those guys go to other team and be successful. You're going to see, that's what happens, right? You might see a guy, whoever it might be, Kareem Hunt go somewhere else and just be an all-time great running back. Like you never know. But this cap space is something that's pathetic. And the one that stands out to me is the Dolphins, obviously at 28, just skipping it. It just
I love it.
infuriated. And I think the Dolphins are going to do a good job. I think, with their new upstairs staff that they have.
You better.
Yeah. I think, they had that cool meeting the other night with, season ticket holders and stuff where they're able to talk about some things.
I saw that.
The Dolphins got a lot to figure out, but I think, upstairs are all on the same page. They know what they want to do and how to do it. And they're open about it, right? There's no one guy wants one decision, one guy wants the other decision. That's I feel like that's what we've been in the past. So I do think the Dolphins are going to find ways to have some extensions, maybe lump sum some money, or maybe put some money in the back half of the contracts in 27 in order to build certain things. So I think that's definitely something to watch for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah, you got Cowboys, I think, also were on that list. Vikings in a sticky. The Saints, man. The Saints is the one that it's like, what are we doing over there, man?
Well, that's the Teron Armstead effect. When they kept rolling and kicking the can down the road in those restructures, when we ended up they paid Teron Armstead $15 million to let him go sign with the Dolphins. It was insane. It was like,
wow.
they kept rolling the can down the road, and they've got insane pushback down the road. It's like
Got you.
half of their salary cap is players that might even be retired.
Wow.
It's insane. It's actually insane.
What a disaster. Could be worse, right? It could be worse.
Yeah, you could be the Dolphins with a 52 million dead cap coming your way. Actually, 99 total. The Chiefs, I kind of want to spin that one a little bit. This could be a blessing in disguise. Obviously, not ideal that Mahomes tears his ACL, but you have that now. You look at this number. Maybe you take this year, you do a quick little reset. You you go lose, you get a good pick. Mahomes is back in 2027. You're healthy. You got a top pick. You can go get him a real weapon, or you can get whatever you need at that point. I think the Chiefs, they run their organization right. They'll figure this out, and they'll come out like geniuses in 2027, 2028. We'll talk about how this was the blessing of disguise for them, and they got to go get a top 5 pick and all that shit, because they will.
The public back on the Chiefs.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
I mean, but we don't have a reason to not believe that, though. So like that's my opinion on it. And they have a lot of like Wingo was saying, they have a lot of old tread. They could easily free up this money. Yep. So like I don't really feel like there's probably a lot of old tread and not guaranteed money considering they're old and on the back end of those deals. So I think they could really get out of this and then even use the down season as an advantage in the draft. And then you look at the Cowboys. They probably have the biggest free agent available this offseason in George Pickens. And like the franchise tag is like 42 million now or some shit. Wingo probably knows the answer to that, but I think it's like insane. It's like 40 million to tag a receiver. Yeah. And George Pickens is not going to take $1 less than market.
Not after the year he had. Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. The Vikings, that's pretty bad too. I mean, they might have a quarterback, but I don't know. They have a lot of holes. Honestly, the defense ain't what it used to be. You get your coordinators back, so that helps a lot. But the Vikings could be another question mark, and the Dolphins I don't have to get into. I'll spend all season talking about that.
So I was going to throw something in there for you. You mentioned the Vikings, right? What are you guys' thoughts on JJ McCarthy? Obviously, right, great job in college football, Michigan, all that. But this is the next level, right? You have him come out, now he get injured, and then come back. There were some flashes, there were some ups, there were some downs. Is he the guy that's going to be in Minnesota? Is he? I know there was a point where he had the team rallied behind him, but I think now when you look at Justin Jefferson, it's like, yo, I want the ball. Hey, we got to do some different things here. I don't know if JJ McCarthy is going to be the guy in Minnesota, and I think that's going to be the biggest question for them to figure out. Yeah,
I get it. I mean, it's one of those things. You're not available. What's that quote? Like availability
is availability.
Yeah, exactly. So that's his problem, right? Because he has shown flashes. I don't think he's played enough yet also in the NFL to make that determination, right? And I think that's one of these things in the NFL that I have a problem with, right? Is like we're so quick to move on from these quarterbacks, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, look what happened with Sam Darnold, right? Like Baker Mayfield, right? People are just like, he stinks. Let's move on. We'll find the next guy. And then it's this constant cycle of we see it with teams, right? Always drafting a quarterback. Dolphins are a victim to that, along with a long list of a lot of other teams. So I do think it's like, see what you got in JJ again this year. But if you deal with the injuries again this year, then it's not maybe necessarily a performance thing. It's just an availability thing. And I think that's what they got to evaluate because this will be his third year coming up, right? So they still got time, rookie contract. They're clearly in a bad cap situation. So kind of got to ride with him a little bit. But how sick would it be if Mr. Tua ends up with his boy Brian Flores over there in Minnesota?
Yeah, that's not possible. He's got a restraining order. Thank you. My client will take no further questions. I want to talk about, we're evaluating, JJ McCarthy. I think the real evaluation was within the Vikings. They let Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones walk out the building last offseason. They had both of them in the building. They both play career years, other places, and now the GM's fired. Yeah. There's a lot of, we could have a whole a conversation about that GM. Apparently he used PFF to draft players. That's how he went about his whole business, is actually using PFF, which is insane. That's nothing better than, that's a good Monday clout for a Dolphins fan, is to use PFF rankings. It don't actually work. It just, it triggers people a little bit and it gets a little juice on the timeline, but you don't build a team off of PFF rankings. Especially when you know that like PFF, it's cool. It's a guide, right? Like it's something to use. You should use it in your repertoire, but like, dude, I could literally sign up for PFF and be grading the Dolphins tomorrow. And how do you feel about that? Like, is that you're going to run your job off of Bobby's opinion? I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but I think that they have a lot of issues their own they need to figure out. And it doesn't put much confidence in me or JJ McCarthy knowing that guy made the selection and seeing that they let Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones walk out of the building when you already had him in place.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold had a great year there. It's not like he didn't produce. Like, he played good there. So, like, they had no reason to let Sam Darnold leave, except for the fact that they invested a first-round pick in a younger guy. And, that's the situation they got stuck in.
Yeah, 100%. But let's touch on some of the teams that are in good cap situations, right? One of the teams, which is insane to be in the top 5, is the Seattle Seahawks, right? Sitting at over $70 million in cap space, just won a Super Bowl. A lot of young guys that they're going to have to pay, right? So how many of those guys are you able to retain, right? Which is what happens, right? It's great when you're able to build this young roster through the draft, but when you got a bunch of guys that are good, eventually you got to pay them, right? So considering with where they're at, I think they got to spend money on the defense, right, to keep that up. They already paid Sam. I don't know Kenneth Walker's contract situation there.
Yeah, he's going to be due
free
soon.
Agent.
JSN's going to be due soon. I think the biggest thing is that Mike McDonald's got to do here is take it while you're on the high, right?
Yeah.
You just won a Super Bowl. You're looking at some of these contracts. Let's spread these out. Right. Let's they just won all together. They said, we talked about them having a unit of special teams, offense, defense. And now it's like, hey, let's renegotiate this contract to what you're worth. But hey, we're building a dynasty. That's what he's got to pitch. We're building a dynasty. We're going to go on a run. So let's extend this contract out, for a few years, and that's going to allow them to do it to everybody on their organization. If you're winning football games at the end of the day, winning games cures all. Sure. And right now, that's what they're doing. So being able to extend those contracts allows them to have more room, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, Kenneth Walker, we got to speak to, this past week, and one of the things that he brought up was, the brotherhood within the locker room, right? Like, these guys want to stay together, right? And they are in a fortunate situation where, to your point, they can stay together, right? Obviously, there's always going to be fall off in certain spots, but at the end of the day, you could keep that core together, right? Because you are in that situation where the cap's favorable to keep guys, right? And you have the opportunity to do something special there. Like, you just won a Super Bowl, have the opportunity to bring a bunch of guys back, and let's say, hey, like, let's go make a run. Maybe you can get more over there, but you stay here, and we could do something real good for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about the Seahawks, and like you nailed it, is like it looks good on paper, but then you realize who they got to pay. Like, literally free agents. Like, they have to pay or they lose.
Yeah.
Within a month, Kenneth Walker, Shaheed, Woolen, Josh Jobe, Kobe Bryant. I mean, 5 starters that contributed big. Like, one was the MVP of the Super Bowl last week. And Shaheed is a bona fide wide receiver 2 and return specialist. And then you got Kobe Bryant starting safety. I mean, Woolen is a lockdown corner and exactly what you need in that system. It's just, they got problems arising, I think. And then to pivot, I think the biggest thing that stands out to me on that list has got to be the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers aren't bad, and they have everything in place, and they've paid their quarterback, and they still have that kind of money available. And you bring Mike McDaniel in, and you got Jim Harbaugh. You lose mentors, so the defense is going to be interesting, but maybe you go actually let this guy buy a defense. Man, the Chargers, really, the sky's the limit there. That's kind of wild. The top 3 makes sense because that's, the rookie quarterbacks 1 year off of tanking or currently taken. So honestly, in $100 million, we can go this. $100 million really isn't all that. Like, that's not. Yeah. That's like, what are you going to do? Go buy 4 starters? I know. I'm not saying when you got money.
I was about to say Odell Beckham when he came out and said the freaking.
Oh yeah, you can't live all $100 million. So no, but like, let's say like if you have 35 players on your roster, you got to get to 53, and you got $100 million. What do you really have? You can't go buy $20 million players. You get Mendoza number 1, and then what do the Raiders do with $87 million? You have to build a team around these guys. It sounds good to go get the stars, but like with $87 million, you could get 3 stars at the current market. It's like, and then you got 20 roster spots open. It's like, it doesn't really work like you think it does. So I think the Chargers probably in the best shape of anyone.
How about them Jets?
How about them?
No, yeah. I honestly, I think the Tennessee situation is interesting, and I think that I don't think we touched on it, but like, what team excites us next year? There's a lot. We talked about Chicago. I like the tandem of Robert Saleh and Dabo over there with a young Cam Ward, right? Like, you got that defensive guy in Saleh, right? I mean, we know he's been a head coach. He was there with the Jets, but the Jets are a scenario in itself, right? So, how much can you really judge a guy for being the head coach of the Jets, right? But he now can take what he learned. He went back to San Francisco, learned even more over there, and then comes here, brings in a guy like Dabo, who's been respected on the offensive side, right? He gets fired, and he was like the first phone call for a lot of people to run their offense, right? So he runs it over there. He's got a young, talented quarterback in Cam Ward, and now you got $99 million to utilize to go help Cam Ward. Their defense was actually pretty damn good last year, considering. And then, offense obviously struggled, but that's what happens when you're a young team, kind of going through this rebuild. So to me, that's an interesting situation. Obviously, the GM has his hands full as to building that roster through the draft, finding guys in free agency. But if they do it right, they could turn the corner over there.
Yeah, and at Tennessee, one of the things that I think my biggest excitement for them was the entire year was Chimere DK. Man, that's my guy. Obviously came from Wisconsin, then went to Florida, and now is Tennessee. That guy's electric, not only just at receiver, but in the return game, right?
Yeah.
Broke the rookie all season for all pro yards, made the Pro Bowl. That guy's going to be something special with just his speed and ability. And I think that's what gave a lot of Tennessee people hope this past season was Cam Ward and Chim DK being able to just be electric and have those big-time plays. And that's something Tennessee hasn't seen in a little while. So it's definitely enjoyable to be able to watch both of them. Cam Ward's a guy who wants to win football games, right? So he's going to be very vocal about that, and he's going to find ways to do that. So I think, they have some money to spend, and they have the opportunities to do so. So I think almost Cam Ward's going to have a say in these things, right? You got to, right? You're trusting in this young quarterback. He's a guy that's vocal. He can play at a high level. Now let's see what works for him so we can make it work for everybody. So I definitely think they have an opportunity there for success.
Absolutely.
Another blessing is we just watched what Robert Saleh did with the Niners and all their injuries.
Yes.
And that defense was thumping. It didn't matter it didn't matter what 11 rolled out there. So maybe you can get away with a little less talent with Saleh calling the defense and being your head coach. And then maybe, I'd say they're in a good position because they have premium money and premium picks.
And no power plant.
and no power plant. You can't underrate that. They got their tendons. So I think that, they're in a good spot, and it'd be interesting to see how they attack this offseason because they can go get the surefire. You could take your money and go get surefire offensive linemen so your guy's protected. Then take your draft picks and go get a weapon. Go get a toy for Cam Ward. So they can really take care of Cam Ward real quick if they do it right. And I think they can. And, I'm excited for Tennessee. And, Cam Ward being the Miami guy, we've all kind of watched him a lot over the years, so we're all rooting for him. Mm-hmm. And then we got to bring him up, Wingo. You can't forget about my boy Restrepo. A little more development. Maybe he gets in the mix next year and sees a lot more playing time.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be a guy, too, that's super versatile, right? You looked at him, what he did at Miami, being able to do things in the slot, move around, be in the backfield a little bit. He's somebody that I'm excited to see for next year to take that leap. I know they're keeping around for a little bit longer. He's a guy that loves ball, too, just like Cam Ward, obviously, being able to be and have that connection. He's all about ball, man. He wakes up and breathes football. And plays Fortnite,
What a guy!
I know.
What a dude!
I know my guy loves playing Fortnite. Him and Chim DK, but he's definitely a guy that can be exciting to watch, and everyone down here in Miami knows that.
Yeah,
I think it sounds funny, but you can't underrate having a guy next to Cam Ward that he's thrown 10,000 passes to.
I know.
I mean, them dudes can throw passes to each other in their sleep, probably. They know where they want each other and where they're going to be and how fast and the timing. You can't underrate that. I'm not saying that just because of that, Restrepo can be a number one receiver, but to have that guy in the rotation and always have a guy, especially come third down, that this guy's going to be on the same page as me, that means something.
Yeah. What about George Pickens? End up in Tennessee? Oh, boy, Cam Ward. Hey, now.
I like that.
Hey, now.
I didn't think about that, but I like it.
Now. No state taxes. No state taxes, Pickens. Come on now.
That would be electric over there.
I could see George Pickens taking his cowboy hat and strolling through Nashville. I didn't even think about that, but now I see the vision.
Let's go. Hey, if it happens, we called it here first. What's today's date? February
13th.
February 13th. Hey,
Friday the 13th. Nice. I didn't realize that.
It is Friday the 13th. It's the day before Valentine's Day. I hope you guys
got your reservations, right?
Valentine's Day
We'll
plans.
know those guys going for reservations at 9:45 are the ones that forgot to make them throughout the entire week. So.
I actually saw a lot of people doing Valentine's Day dinners last night to like beat the rush.
That's smart.
Yeah,
that's always the play.
That's just the side pieces that they're taking on the day before. And then I saw a TikTok about it saying that you take the other girl on the 13th and your main girl. I was like, oh, come on.
Damn, bro, that's dirty work. That's expensive.
How did you do it, Wingo?
Damn. Put him on the spot, bro.
He put you on full screen too. That's crazy. That's wild way, Pooch. That's wild work, man. No, I think Andre just told me though. Go get George Pickens. Forget what I said about normally you draft the talent, but go get George Pickens if you can. You don't not go to get George Pickens. That talk about a good weapon and a comfortable.
I know what you're doing here, Bobby. You're trying to go right when you already went left, bro. You're fucked.
Lock your door out there in Louisiana.
I'm winging it right now, okay?
Winging it. I like it.
No, but really, like if you can get George Pickens, get him, and then you can go tackle or whatever in the top 10 there, or whatever you need, or get another weapon. Who cares? Hey, trade down, get Jeremiah Love. Now have some real fun.
I'm down for it. I think that'll be fun. I think that I saw the vision and I'm like, dude, that would be sick. But I was going to ask you boys what you guys were doing for Valentine's Day, but Bobby wanted to take it to a completely different turn. So I don't even know if we should have the discussion anymore.
Well, we might have a lot to talk about then.
No, I'm going to a nice little place on Pebble Beach with my girlfriend. We just moved into our house together.
Nice,
so,
congrats.
Excited about that. Got the war room in the works right now for work and obviously for the show. So I'm super excited.
Hell yeah. Bobby, what do you got going on? Got the kids.
I'm over here raising these kids. We're going into the double digit years, you know what I'm saying? So, we don't get flustered about Valentine's stuff like that. You might catch us at Chili's with the kids tomorrow night, something light, you know what I mean? Actually the blessing for us right now is it's Mardi Gras season, peak Mardi Gras season. So there parades tonight, parades tomorrow night, and my girl's Cajun. So you take her to a Mardi Gras parade, get her a frozen daiquiri in her hand. You love her.
It's a good time.
She knows you love her. It's real.
I am lucky because I have a wedding today and a wedding tomorrow. So I don't have to do anything. We're celebrating
Who the hell
love.
gets married on Valentine's Day?
Apparently it's a thing. I know. I have one.
They had to wait till after the football season. They had to wait till right after the football season to get it done.
As an attendee, it's phenomenal. You get to celebrate love with your girl.
The vibes are high.
Vibes are
Love
high.
in the air.
Free drinks, free
Free
food.
drinks.
Like, I'm like, hey, if anybody
Sign
wants
me
to do it again next year, I'm down.
I always thought it was weird to get like engaged or ask a girl out like on the major holidays. Cause look, it could always work. But if it doesn't, you just ruin that day for it's always going to be like, it don't matter how much you move on. You'll always be like, oh, you're waking up with the kids for Christmas. Oh my God, the new bike. And then you're like, oh, that bitch. that bitch stole my heart in junior high school.
That is true. That is fucked. Oh man. All right. Let's before we kind of wrap it up here, let's touch a little bit. We got Pebble Beach, first signature event of the year. Beautiful, beautiful Pebble Beach. I don't know if you've been there. It is unreal. A lot of cliffside beaches. It is one of the most pristine courses probably on the tour all year. But we got Goddard up, who won Waste Management last week, and now I don't know if they teed off yet today. They probably are just teeing off now over there. But Goddard up, electric start again, coming off a win in Waste Management. Shot, I think, 6 or 7 under yesterday. He's right up there on the top of the leaderboard. But for a lot of people that don't know, there is a man by the name of Ryu. He's let me pull up his name so I don't butcher it. Hisatune, some shit like that. Yeah. Japanese, but he has been on a tear the last couple of years. Hasn't won, but is just always grinding up there in the leaderboard, And there was something funny that he does, which I didn't realize this until yesterday. Before every putt, he grabs his little Yeti water bottle and has a little straw, and he sips out of the straw, right? Before every putt. And everyone's like, bro, that's one thing is you take a sip here and there.
That's a superstition.
Yeah, it's a crazy. But so people ask him are you drinking water? And he goes, with his Japanese accent. He's like, no, I drink sake.
That is
what a
great.
legend, bro. Which obviously he's like, no, I'm joking. It's water. It's water. Because people were probably taking him serious. Like, holy shit, this guy's drinking sake on the course. Like, that's what's getting all the butts to go down.
That would bring the tour to another level.
Oh my God, bro. And especially a guy like him, like people don't really know. Now all of a sudden he's playing really well. So people are starting to like hear his name more and hear his name more. And signature event, he's up at the top of a leaderboard, and maybe sake's the answer. So
I mean, I haven't had a chance to be out there at Pebble Beach. I know it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, I played on the simulator sometimes. I feel like everybody does. But that's one to definitely watch out. You know, the weather too, the winds, you know, everything gets nuts.
it was raining yesterday too.
Yeah, so it's about, you know, playing in the conditions. How well can guys be able to overcome, you know, let's say you have a bad day one, day two bouncing back, you know, being conservative when the weather is a factor. So that's where I think you see guys like him be able to take his game to the next level because some of these top guys just say, you know, I'm done. I'm not dealing with the weather and this and that. So a lot of guys I think are going to have a lot of opportunities at a big time stage, especially for the first go round of the season.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I mean, I'm looking at the leaderboard right now. A guy that I put a card on early before the tournament started was Mr. Akshay Bhatia. He is 9 under right now, 1 stroke back in the lead. You got Ricky Fowler, who's making a run right now. And then, you know, Scotty's the guy obviously everyone wants to talk about, but back-to-back weeks where he just has a bad first round and then has to play himself back into the tournament. So we'll see what he does today. This course could play ridiculously tough to, like your point, when that wind's blowing. There's a stretch of holes that could just get real dicey real quick, and then you add rain into the factor. So it's a stacked leaderboard today. So we'll see what happens through the course of the weekend, and watch out for Akshay Bhatia, and watch out for Jake Knapp as well, also playing really well. So those are some names to watch going into the weekend.
Does any course have better scenes than Pebble Beach? Like hole 7 with the ocean in the backdrop is like.
It's hard to beat. I mean, Spyglass, people make the argument Spyglass, which is the course right next to Pebble Beach, is up there as well, has a very similar hole to hole 7 on Pebble Beach. It's somewhere there on the front. I forget what it is. I want to say 6 or 5, but it's also straight downhill, cliffside, beachside views. It's a little bit longer than the one on 7 on Pebble Beach. Also another iconic hole. But yeah, that whole area of, you know, Northern Cali up there by Pebble is.
Yeah, TPC, Sawgrass, all that stuff is beautiful.
Well, Sawgrass is in Jacksonville. I don't know if they have. I don't think they have a.
What's the one? Is it Scottsdale? What's one in Arizona?
No, there's
TPC.
TPC out in Scottsdale. They just had waste
Scottsdale,
management, and then
Scottsdale. Yeah, that thing is
Sawgrass
beautiful.
is a nice course as well. I know they have the 16th hole where it's out there, but you know, don't put me in.
It's hard. It's hard to beat Pebble. That's for damn sure.
I would never probably play there because you know I would donate balls to the water.
That's what I'm gonna say.
It would be a cool picture. It'd definitely be a cool experience. But
that is a place where you accept to go through like maybe 5 sleeves of balls sitting around and be like, I don't care. I just spent maybe $500 on this round, maybe even more. God knows how much that place is.
So I'm out.
Yeah, TBC, Sawgrass in its prime, like now, you know, kind of going into the season, is probably somewhere like $700, I want to say, to play there. Low season, you could play there for probably like $200-300. Pebble, you know, at its peak, it's somewhere up there, 700 plus. But.
And that's one of those courses too, where it's like insane views, but it's probably one of the more hard. Like Wingo was saying, it's all water. You're surrounded by water. You're landlocked.
Elevation.
And the conditions got to be insane. Like, yeah, you're elevated and you're coming off the ocean. So the cross winds and the swirling winds has got to be like
ridiculous.
Have
the I think it's the hole right before 7. So it's hole 6. It's a par 5. T-box is down here, and the green is like somewhere all the way up here. So you're playing. It's God knows, you know, from the tips 500, right? What plus maybe, but straight uphill. Plus the wind's in your face, so you're
probably 7 something.
Yeah, it's playing closer to like 650, right?
I'm playing through.
I'm going driver, 3-wood, and then maybe an iron in. You know,
a few drops here and there.
Just trying to get up there and maybe have a chance at a bogey at the end of it. But it is unreal. It's probably one of the best courses, and this is kind of like the first signature event where you got the best field leading into the year. So we'll see what the weekend looks like. It'll be interesting considering all the big names up there, and let's see if my boy Ryu or Akshay. I got cards on both of them, and I'm in a pretty good spot going into the weekend right now.
Heck yeah,
feeling good. All right.
Andre's trying to shake back a little bit from that San Fran trip.
Well, yeah. I got to make some of that money back. I was watching this show Landman. I don't want to go too much on a tangent here, but I don't know if you've seen it. It's like that the oil, and the wife goes to the casino. She's like, she calls her husband, "Hey, can I take 10K out of the safe to go to the casino?" And he's like, "10K? What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take the old people to the casino." And he's like, "All right, whatever. Yeah, sure. Go do your thing." She comes back 390K that she won on the casino.
Let it ride.
Just on black. Sick. So hopefully we can do that.
This is random, but it all escalated pretty quickly while we were live. The Raptors released Chris Paul, but now officially Chris Paul announces his official retirement from basketball.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Damn. What a shame. I was hoping he got a ring.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Well, he would have got a ring with Kobe, but they screwed us. They hate us because they ain't us type thing. We would have had Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, and Kobe, and it would have been insane. But they ruined that for us. So, anyways.
Yeah. Shout out Chris Paul, great career. I don't know where
North Carolina legend right there.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out Chris Paul, great career. Real quick, we got Winter Olympics. I don't know how much of you boys have watched the Winter Olympics. Unfortunately, I have not consumed much of it. But one big story, at least that we could touch on, was Lindsey Vonn, right? Winter Olympic legend, USA legend. Tears her ACL, I think in the trials, right?
Yep.
And is basically like, fuck it, I'm still going to go out there with a torn ACL. And unfortunately, like 15 minutes into that first round, or 15 seconds into that first round, breaks her leg on the run.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, especially, being her last Olympics. You look at somebody who that's what you've worked for your entire life, right? And then to be so close on your last go round, right? And something like that to happen, it's like you can't tell anybody in the world, right? No, I'm not going out there. I'm done. Right. You don't want to end that way. For her, I think at the end of the day, she's happy that she went out there. And I guarantee you, right, those first 15 seconds when she was out there, she knew. Obviously, she's like, this probably isn't going to go well. Yeah. But I'm happy that I'm here, and this is one of those moments in my life that I always remember. Sitting at the top of everything and being like, I'm proud that I was able to do this. So good for her to be able to have the career that she had, and then just a respect for an athlete, knowing that I gave it my all for so long. Like, let me be on top one last time and experience that rush of being an amazing athlete.
Yeah. No, she wasn't going to go down the way she did. That's for damn sure. Like, she was like, if I'm going to do this, like, I got to be on the course, I guess you could call it, right? And at least give it a shot. But she is a legend, and it was a very illustrious career for her. I think U.S. right now is like third in total medals.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I haven't kept too much up with the Winter Olympics. When I do turn the TV on, all I see is like the little sniper guys.
Yeah.
And
Pooch, what is this?
I'm not too big on it. Curling. Those guys are going crazy. I saw U.S. won a big one of knocking somebody out.
That shit's electric, man. You don't know what's happening, but it's hype.
I played the game where you throw there's the board where you put the sand on it, and you're throwing it, and that's basically what it is.
Baby. That's dot bar games.
Yeah, and they're out there going to work. So I don't know if the stick is actually working.
No. I've done it before.
You're taking the friction off the ice,
it's
so
everything.
it goes faster.
It's everything. Like, if you don't have somebody there freaking grinding to so God knows how that looks on camera, but like that is everything when it comes to that.
So
shit.
my understanding, Wingo, is that the guy in the front can control the speed by how much they rub the ground. So the faster they rub, the smoother the surface.
This is getting out of hand.
The less friction on the puck. You know what I mean?
This is getting out of hand. But there is no other way to describe it.
But like it's actually really scientific, though. It's a huge, like Andre said, it's a huge part of the role. Like, you have to put it in line, but like the scrubber is like just as important.
Yeah, and
he has to put it where it stops.
You got somebody there at the end, right, where the circle, where the colored circles are, where you want it to land, to continue to scrape it, because if it's got enough momentum, you can actually get it off there. So it's like the scraping is pretty much everything. The toss is just kind of half of it, I guess you could say. Which the tossing is hard as shit, by the way. Like, we did it, bro. People were face planting on the ice. It's hard. You got to like pace it enough where it's not too much speed, but you also have to be strategic about what's already there. So you want to maybe try to knock somebody's off.
Yep.
So that might be my favorite Winter Olympic sport outside of the snowboarding. Once you do it once, you kind of like, shit, I respect it.
And then you got hockey too. Now,
true. Yes, USA played yesterday.
USA played yesterday, won 5-1.
Was that the final score?
Yeah, 5-1. I can't even pronounce the name of the team that they did play.
Was it Latvia maybe?
Latvia.
Yeah.
I think it was Latvia. But, it was amazing. I saw a clip on ESPN, the puck movement, them able just to, look like they're playing together.
Yeah.
Don't be upset at me about this one. I actually just a few months ago watched the movie Miracle.
What?
Yeah, I honestly had no idea. One of my buddies put me on and said, watch this movie, and I'm fired up for USA Hockey.
That is actually a great movie to watch.
That was one of the most amazing.
We got the Kachuk USA signed jersey right there behind him.
I am fired up. That movie's got me, going crazy. Just to have the opportunity, to be out there and play against those guys. I know everyone's looking forward to the Canada game. Yes. Obviously, that's what everyone wants to see. But, taking it step by step, USA's got some guys.
Yeah, they do, led by our boy Chucky over here. David, if he was here, would be going on a rant about Canada right now. He might be one of the most hated men in Canada during this time of the year. We had a clip go viral last year, and it was like, it hit the Canadian algorithm, not the USA algorithm. So it was just David getting absolutely roasted in the comments, bro. Like insulting his beard, his glasses. I'm like, yo, why are we making this personal now, bro? But Dave did go after them. Them, and he will again this year.
Someone's homeland, you kind of open it all up. I mean, fair is fair.
Yeah, and he'll do it again this year. So stay tuned for a Canadian rant from Dave. But I think that pretty much does it here. We got our dude of the week and dude moment of the week. So, of course, dude of the week is the boy, Kenneth Walker, coming off a Super Bowl MVP. He's just a dog. He's a dog. He deserved it. I know we talked about it earlier on the show. Got to speak to him, got to talk to him. He's a nice low-key guy.
Yeah, he's mellow.
Yeah, he's mellow. Yeah. Even keel dude. I tried to get him to say a Spanish word. He was like, I don't know Spanish. And I'm like, all right, I'll teach you one. And I told him, tranquilo. And then he's like, nah, I ain't saying that.
He said, cool, I ain't saying it.
But, he is that kind of vibe. He's very mellow. He seems like a good dude. And apparently he was trying to negotiate his contract.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, I have no idea if that's actually true or not. But, they said he was negotiating his contract when everyone was up there drinking and having fun. Hey, props to you. Shoot him where you just got the
While they're high, too. Everyone's on the high.
They're high. He's the guards down. Yeah, I got a few things I want to say about Kenneth Walker, but before I say that, over 235 people watching across the platform. Like I said, we appreciate you watching from wherever you enjoy the podcast, but please make sure you also come over to YouTube, show all the channels love, support the growth, more stuff's coming. It's the off season, so you already know we're cooking. We've been in the lab talking about everything we got coming, and it's going to be incredible. So keep supporting. Obviously, wherever you enjoy it there, but it helps when you help us grow. So Kenneth Walker, it was cool for me to see him on the biggest platform show off his game like that. I think, to me, the coolest part was his patience. There was so many runs where he was just, not rattled.
Yes.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell Prime, just straight, calm, smooth. Nothing rattled him. Kind of like his personality. Sometimes that stuff translates. He's a cool dude. He's calm and collected, and it paid off for him big time a couple of times. So it was awesome to see that.
Yeah. Pay the man. Pay the damn man. Let's go. And then we got our dude moment of the week, which is from not Pebble, Waste Management last week. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was some heckling going on in the final hole there, which some argue cost Hideki the tournament, right? Yep. He was off with the driver all week, but yeah.
No, that's little guy. I'll spit on you. And you won't do shit. Slap me, little guy. Get the fuck out of here.
Man,
yeah.
I love golf.
I mean, Waste Management is a tournament in itself, just completely different than any other tournament. Something like this probably would not happen in most places.
Right.
vibes are high, energy's high, drinking's been happening all day. It introduces a lot of people to the game of golf, right? But for people that may not know or not really truly care about the, what do you call it? Like the traditions of golf, right?
The etiquette, proper etiquette of golf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. I mean, I think that's the hard part though, is like you're getting a younger crowd, right? You're getting a more rowdy thing. That's how you're selling the whole bit. And people are going crazy. The drinking's flowing. We're at hole 18 by the end of the day. Who knows how drunk those people are? But yeah, it's tough because that's what sells that game and that event. But it's also like to know that like these are the gaps. You can't do all the stuff that you've been doing all day. It's absolutely not okay, but it's also like it's tough.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you could be as loud as you want at any other time, but that's like the one moment. Just choose to like just keep it quiet for a second, you know. And, this guy had the, I guess, he was like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to say something to you. Like, just like, there's a million other people around you, and you're going to be the one guy to say something for whatever attention.
Was talking.
For sure. And then it turned into a heated moment, and I forget what the guy said to him, but shout out this guy for, defending Hideki and defending the integrity of the game of golf. However you feel about the rules, I think there's a fine line to it, right? There's a balance to it all. It's like have fun and keep growing the game, and like let's remove some of like the stigma and like the, what do you call that? Like I don't know what the word is.
Suit and tie put together.
Yeah, exactly. And like let's have some fun with it. But for 1 second, just like you could keep your mouth shut. Also, Hideki just had terrible luck because in the playoff hole, I don't know if you saw that shit.
No,
bro, one of the guys there, like one of the attendants, like working the tournament, happened to drop a chair or something in his backswing, and like I don't even know how he stopped the swing, but like right on the downswing, the chair falls and he was able to like pull it up, and then he ends up straight hooking his next drive. So I think it was just Goddard Up's like tournament to win. I mean, he also was on a heater in that back nine. I won 5 birdies of the last 6 holes, so he got himself into that spot, and Hideki just choked, unfortunately.
That was the same tournament they were paying the streamer paid the guy that like the heckle people and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's waste management.
See, that's the stuff you're getting out there though. When you
that's
unfortunately
some Happy Gilmore shit.
I hate to sound like the old guy, but like when you sell and you bring that kind of crowd in, you're gonna have some of that, and that's just it's unfortunate, but that's where it's coming. It's such a big deal. Like waste management is like the biggest deal, like especially for the young guys. The young kids, like that's really brought golf onto the mainstream, zone. And unfortunately, that's gonna, you're gonna have stuff like that every year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, 2 years ago they had to stop selling alcohol.
Last year,
or was it last year? One of these years they had to cut alcohol completely.
And everyone broke down the fence and they were running in, and
chaos, bro.
I wish I was there. It's just nuts.
Yeah, I've gone I didn't go this year, but I went the 3 years prior, and it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. It's great for the game. But
don't they like throw like alcohol into the green and stuff when people like do certain shit and stuff?
On 16, yes. They've cut that down. Obviously, hole 16 is one of the most iconic golf holes, from like a fan perspective. But if someone hits a hole on one there, beers are being thrown on the floor.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah.
Like that's like the one like spot that like, all right, yeah, let it happen. Everywhere else, though, like Joel Damon in the past has taken off his shirt and he's swinging in the crowd. Joel Damon is the man. He's definitely one of those guys, that's being a dude. Like he's one of those guys. But yeah, that about does it for today, boys. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. I don't know, any final words, any final thoughts from the group?
I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. This offseason's loaded with some of the things that, we're going to bring. The team is working hard to kind of get things done and special guests, all the things that we're going to do. So I'm super excited just to kind of get it rolling and, see us every Friday at 12.
Yes, sir. Bobby?
Yeah, not to, I told myself I wouldn't cry, but just a shout out to the guys, man. We had such a good weekend in San Fran, and I know that it all looked cool on the internet and stuff, but Andre really did put a lot into it, and he didn't spare a dollar, and he made it awesome for us, and we had a lot of fun, and we ate a lot of good food, and we drank a lot of good beer, and we seen a lot of cool things, and we almost lost one of our members to a scooter, but it was absolutely electric, and if there's going to be more content coming out from that, but there's a lot of things you'll never see. Just know that we did it all, man, and it was awesome, and we did it.
Fuck yeah, baby. We'll be back next year. LA. Oh, shit. Let's go. Let's guys. But yeah, it was a great week, and we will see you guys next Friday. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and let's run it back next week. Let's have a good time, boys.
Friday
Peace.
12.
Great show, Pooch.
Start! It's